The story begins with a journalist, a woman, and her male colleague, a fellow journalist, driving down the road. The woman is worried about her daughter, fearing it might rain and she might not have an umbrella. Her friend reassures her, saying the daughter is grown up and can buy one herself, and she shouldn't worry excessively. However, the woman continues, mentioning that her daughter has been acting strangely lately, quiet and gloomy. She even found a blade in her room. Her friend advises her to try and talk to her daughter. She then suggests her friend should also try to talk to the daughter, as she used to be comfortable sharing her feelings with him. He agrees to help. They switch topics to a man who contacted her directly, confessing he was a killer who had taken the lives of 11 people, and wanted to schedule an interview. Her friend finds this strange and dangerous. He suggests it's not too late to report it to the authorities. They could arrest him first and then find out if he was telling the truth. But she argues that if they do that, they won't be able to break the news before anyone else. Her friend admits it seems a bit risky, but she insists on taking the chance. She believes if the interview is successful, the hostage, a victim he mentioned who is not yet gone, might have a chance to live, as the man had implied. She tells her friend to stick to their plan. Her friend drops her off near the appointed building, and she walks in. Inside, she asks the informant at the reception about the room her friend booked for the interview with the self-proclaimed killer. At that moment, she notices the hotel's security cameras are being repaired and replaced by a technician. This means the security footage will be unusable. She goes to the bathroom, places some equipment, and puts a communication device in her ear to easily keep in touch with her friend. She also makes a copy of the room keycard for her friend to use in case something goes wrong. She takes the elevator up to the room and cleverly leaves the copied keycard inside the elevator for her friend to pick up. She reaches the floor and enters the room. Shortly after, she hears her friend, Sang-woo, on the earpiece, calling her Sunju and saying he has reached the other room and is also setting up. He reminds her not to forget to install the hidden camera first. Sunju begins setting up the hidden cameras around the room. Meanwhile, Sang-woo is in the room on the floor below, setting up to monitor the hidden cameras and the activity inside. He asks Sunju if everything is ready, adding that it's not too late to change her mind. But she confidently says she can do this. Time passes, and it reaches 12 p.m., noon. The doorbell rings, indicating the killer she was scheduled to interview has arrived. He is very punctual. She walks to the peephole and sees a man dressed in neat attire standing outside the room. She decides to open the door. The man, appearing completely normal, invites himself in. Upon entering, he seems to observe the room's atmosphere and notes everything. He even uses a remote control to change the picture display in the room. He then calmly sits down in front of the camera, taking a drink of water. Sunju finds his demeanor strange. He is a killer who confessed to taking 11 lives, yet he walks in so casually. Sunju officially begins the interview, confirming he claimed to have taken 11 lives over the last 2 years. She notes that in all those incidents, there were no traceable leads, and even security cameras were not working. She asks if he can prove that what he is saying is true. The man counters, asking why she is there if she doesn't believe him. Sunju replies that she is there to interview him, and he must verify the truth so the interview is not pointless. Without much speaking, the man hands her his phone, which contains several videos. She opens it and sees clear videos of the man taking the lives of all 11 victims. She is horrified and begins to fear him. Sang-woo, through the earpiece, tells her to collect herself and start the interview. Sunju starts the interview by pointing the camera at the man and hitting record. Her first question is about his identity, his name, and his age. He says the question is irrelevant to the interview's purpose. Sang-woo advises her not to push him if he doesn't want to answer, so she changes the question. She asks if he truly admits to being the killer who ended the lives of 11 people in 2 years. He confirms it. She asks why he, having committed such terrible acts, dares to grant her an interview. He replies that although he has done wrong, he wants to uphold justice for his actions. Sunju asks if he thinks a killer can have justice. He questions why she is so certain that a killer cannot have justice. She says it's because he committed homicide with clear evidence, which would typically result in a sentence. The man replies, "I think you are missing my point. I am not a killer who takes lives for fame. I am a psychiatrist." Upon hearing this, both Sunju and Sang-woo are shocked. This man is a doctor, a psychiatrist, yet he is doing such things. He explains that the people he took the lives of were those requested by his psychiatric patients. Sunju clarifies, "Does this mean you took the lives of people that your psychiatric patients told you were threatening them?" He confirms this. Sunju notes that he is confessing so much, and asks why he is willing to give her this interview. He flips the question back. "You ask why I dare to confess, but why do you dare to to interview a killer who could threaten your own safety? She responds that it is her job and she must do it. He says he made the right choice in picking her for the interview. Sunju presses him again. I want to know your true identity to continue the interview and to ensure the safety of the next victim you plan to take the life of tonight, as you told me. If you refuse, I will end the interview. He still refuses to give his identity. She begins to pack up her equipment and camera, preparing to leave. Suddenly, the man says, if you walk out that door, the person I'm prepared to take the life of next will lose their life ahead of schedule. Sang-woo draws his weapon, intending to rush in and protect her, but she turns back. The man continues, I will give you a chance to save them. Sang-woo tries to tell her to come out and report him to the authorities first, then they can talk. She asks the man, how can I trust your promise? He replies, if you trust me, come back and sit down. She walks back and sits, while Sang-woo remains extremely worried. She resumes the interview. Just as she is about to ask the next question, the man interrupts. I want you to ask questions and conduct this interview as yourself. Don't put yourself under pressure from anyone, so that I can answer from the heart and confess everything in this interview. She agrees. She then asks, what was the factor that drove you to become a killer? He says it is a long story. Sunju assures him, that's fine. We have plenty of time. The man begins, there was a woman living an ordinary life. She was kind. She married at 29 and got pregnant the following year. She believed her life would be full of happiness. But one day, while pregnant, she was physically assaulted in a car by a wicked person. After giving birth, she couldn't forget the incident. She began to despise herself and decided to end her own life and her child's. Sunju asks directly, is this the true story of your wife? He confirms it. And I know you are also experiencing pain in your family relationships. That's why you responded so quickly to my story. Sunju says that is her private matter and not related to her work. The man comments that she is very professional. He continues, since his wife lost her life, the dark shadow of losing his family made him stop being a doctor. His heart was filled only with vengeance. The court had sentenced the person who committed the wicked act against his wife to only 4 years in prison. When he saw the wicked person's smiling face, he was deeply hurt. He waited 4 years to take the life of that wicked person. His initial target for revenge, however, was the one who had given the wicked person only a 4-year sentence. He spent time studying and planning his revenge, waiting for that person to get out of prison. But that day also turned out to be the day his wife and child took their own lives. Sunju asks if he ever sought help from a psychiatrist. He replies, I work as a psychiatrist, and I couldn't help my own wife escape her depression. After losing his wife and child, he fell into depression and became apathetic to everything. He nearly quit his profession. One day, a man with severe mental health issues came to see him. He was an honest, hard-working man who loved his family deeply, but he lost them in an accident caused by a drunk driver. His son was left in a vegetative state. One day, he coincidentally saw the same person driving drunk again. He considered seeking revenge but remembered his son, who needed his care at the hospital, and decided not to. He came to the doctor for therapy. It was from that moment that I conceived the idea of taking the lives of wicked people, the man states. He took the life of the drunk driver and showed the video to the grieving man, who showed happiness upon seeing the wicked person receive their karma. From then on, he believed that this was the true way to solve the mental problems of the victims. Sunju says that revenge sounds like a better method than using medicine for treatment. The man agrees, as I told you about my wife's story, nothing can erase the pain and bad memories like revenge. But Sunju argues, what you think is just your personal perspective, not a doctor's. It sounds like the act of someone who takes lives, forgetting he is a doctor. The man replies that he has completed his medical training and even tried to treat his wife. But as a doctor who also became a killer, I believe my current action is the best for treating the mental health of my patients. Sunju looks exasperated and sighs. Suddenly, the man says something strange. You say I'm being unprofessional, but have you looked closely at your own journalist colleague? Also, you are a journalist. Why did you dare to meet me on your own? Even though you knew I was a killer, why didn't you call the police first? Sunju suggests they are going beyond what they should be discussing. Besides, I only wanted to meet you to ensure the safety of the person you plan to take the life of next. The man says, in truth, I just wanted to test your real intention for coming here, whether you truly want to save someone's life, or if you only want a unique story to gain fame. The man walks closer to her and asks the same question again. Did you truly come here to save a life? To verify the truth, he reaches out to check her pulse, using psychology to determine if she is lying. He asks her to look him in the eye and answer the question again. As she is about to answer, he pulls his hand back, having determined that she is lying. She still insists she is telling the truth and not lying. The man says, it's alright, you don't need to explain further. And don't worry. Suddenly, the doorbell rings again, suggesting someone has arrived. The man says, don't worry, it's probably the food delivery person I ordered. He walks over and opens the door for the delivery person to come in. After placing the food down, the delivery person stays put. The man remembers he forgot to give a tip and takes out some money. As the delivery person smiles and reaches for the money, the man pulls it back and adds another bill. As the person reaches for it again, he pulls it away, causing the delivery person's face to change to an angry expression. The delivery person says, doing this, you probably don't know who I am. Immediately, the killer takes a syringe filled with poison and injects the delivery person, who collapses and loses his life right there. Sunju is truly shocked by his action. Sang-woo, through the earpiece, tells her to get out of there quickly. But the circumstances are not right for her to leave. It could be dangerous. She asks the man, fearfully, why he did that. The man replies calmly that one of his female patients was assaulted and filmed by this man 3 years ago, which led to her breaking up with her fiancé. I took the opportunity to take his life during the interview. No time wasted, he says. She asks, but you said you would take the life of the next person tonight. Why now? He replies that the person she is referring to is not him, it is someone else. At this moment, Sunju begins to lose control of herself, overwhelmed by fear and confusion. She is no longer in control of the situation, the killer is. Sang-woo, monitoring their activity via the hidden camera, also feels it is difficult to determine what will happen next. The killer calmly sits down and eats the food the delivery person brought. He tells her not to worry about the person who just lost his life. You should worry about the person who is still living. Sunju tries to compose herself and continues the interview. She asks how he meets the patients who come to him. He explains that he meets them at various hospitals. They tell him about the mental distress they suffered due to injustice. He then goes and takes the lives of the individuals who caused their mental anguish, one by one. He shows them the results, and they smile again, no longer suffering from mental illness. Sunju sighs and asks him, don't you feel any guilt for doing all this? The man laughs and says, no, I only think I've fulfilled my role as a doctor well, causing my patients to no longer have mental health problems. Sunju interrupts, no, you didn't do it for the patients. You did it for yourself. The man gets up and walks away from her without responding. Sang-woo, through the earpiece, tells Sunju that he will go into the room with his weapon to free her. But when he gets to the door, the copied keycard doesn't work. This means the killer knew everything beforehand, and he had prepared everything even before Sunju arrived. It is too late for a surprise attack. Sang-woo tells Sunju to continue the interview as normal. The man asks her, do you have a child? She says she does. He asks, if someone hurt your child, how would you feel? Would you want that person to lose their life? Try to imagine it and answer me honestly. She replies, of course. The man continues, this means that everyone, when put in that situation, thinks the same way. And this is my purpose for being here, to confirm the person before taking action. Sunju is shocked by his words. What do you mean? She asks. He says he will take the life of the person who hurt her. Sang-woo, watching through the hidden camera, says, what does this man want to do? Sunju asks, tell me clearly, what's going on? The man says he received a call from a patient who came to him, saying she had been assaulted. Sunju looks strangely shocked. The killer starts flipping a coin on the table and begins to hypnotize her. He asks her questions, and she starts to answer truthfully. She confesses that she has a daughter whom she loves dearly. Her relationship with her husband broke up, and she lives happily with her daughter. But recently, her daughter has been strange, quiet, and even wanted to go live with her father. This made her sad and worried. She never thought the man could hypnotize her like that. He truly has high psychological skills. Sang-woo, through the earpiece, tells her to be careful and find a way to escape, because this man is not to be trifled with and he probably knows their entire plan. He tells her to use the self-defense device he gave her to escape. She takes the device and walks toward the man. The man says, you don't have to hide your feelings. I will show you the truth soon. He tells her to sit down. He then takes out his phone and calls the room where Sang-woo is monitoring the hidden cameras. He hangs up, making them realize he truly knows their plan. She attempts to use the device to attack the man, but he catches her and ties her up in the chair. He sets up the camera to interview her instead, to find out some truths. Sang-woo is also shown to be tied up in his room. The man shows Sunju a video of her friend tied up. No one can help her. He explains that he had secretly released poisonous gas into that room from the beginning, which is why he was able to easily tie up Sang-woo. The man tells her that Sang-woo, her good friend, has been betraying her news organization for a long time. It started when he slept with a woman who secretly took photos to blackmail him. He agreed to provide important important confidential documents to the underworld in exchange for the photos not being released. One day, she had important information about the underworld, and Sang-woo went to her house to steal the documents. Coincidentally, her daughter was there and saw him. Sang-woo then took her daughter into a room and assaulted her. Upon hearing this, Sunju is shocked and cannot accept it. She is deeply hurt and says it's impossible, as Sang-woo is her good friend and treats her daughter like a niece. But the man points out, don't you wonder why your daughter, who has lived with you since she was little, suddenly changed her mind, wants to live with her father, and is quiet like this? As a mother, you should have noticed and observed it. The man hands her the phone so she can speak with her daughter directly. When she calls, her daughter asks, Mom, are you with the doctor? This confirms that what the doctor said is true, and Sunju bursts into tears. The man asks Sunju, do you agree now for me to take the life of my next target? It's your good friend, Sang-woo. He unties her, allowing her to go and ask Sang-woo for the truth herself, in case she thinks he is lying. He advises her, however, to trust what she thinks and not to trust him or her friend. He then walks out. The image shows Sang-woo has managed to free himself from the chair, just as she arrives in the room. She asks him, did you really do that terrible thing to my daughter? He denies it, telling her not to fall for the killer's trick. He is trying to make us fight. You see, his psychological skills are so high he can even hypnotize you. How could I assault your daughter, whom I treat like a niece? She is about to put her weapon down, but she remembers the killer's words. Don't trust him or her friend, trust her own judgment. She recalls the day the incident happened, seeing her friend there, and trying to check the security camera footage herself, which she didn't see. She then remembers seeing her daughter looking at Sang-woo with fearful eyes. Her daughter's strange behavior started from that day. She becomes certain that Sang-woo did commit the act. Sang-woo realizes he can no longer fool her. He fights her for the weapon. The killer walks back in, and Sang-woo tries to shoot him, but the weapon is empty. The killer had set it up earlier so Sunju wouldn't have bullets. Sunju then takes the syringe with the poison the killer gave her secretly and injects Sang-woo, who collapses and loses his life right there. The man tells her to go home as if everything were normal. He will take care of everything that happened there. She walks out. The story ends here. Thank you to everyone for following this movie recap from beginning to end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to watch my future movie recaps.